Good morning, Turfs Up Radio. Wayne Bowes, Profits Unlimited, coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, my goodness. We got a great show planned today. We're going to be talking a little bit about truth in advertising. Got a funny story about a client. We're going to talk about, my goodness, a new man-hour calculator that I found that is destined to probably not be the best thing for you. So, hey, we got a lot of good things going on today. And then we're going to talk a little bit about snow and God, who knows what else? Because you know what happens when you guys get on and y'all start texting me. We know what happens then we get off down another road. But hey, that's okay. It's a great day to be alive. Isn't that the truth, man? We're looking down on grass. We're beating some of them, beating a lot of them, matter of fact. So, even Eric Jones was talking about this morning on his show that he thought he was having a heart attack last night. And Jennifer was like, "Are you really? Are you really?" And he's like, so, but anyway, he wasn't. So that's a good thing. And if anybody would know, he would know because he actually had one several years ago. He was telling us about, and yeah. So yeah, he knew what to look for real. And no, we're not even going to joke about that, but good deal. So, look, Doug, appreciate you listening, my friend. Always good to have you on. Yay. Looks like Doug's out hard at it this morning. Looks like he's got a sod cutter going this morning. So that's always exciting. Yes, indeedy. So speaking of which, when Daniel came on his show this morning, there was another mic had another mic activated on it was actually his MacBook mic. And so y'all heard us talking about some aerator issues we had going on, and we're actually dropping the aerator off for a little service and had to rent one. We want to rent one or two. I'm really not sure what we ended up with, but trying to get through our aeration. So we're moving along with that. That's a good thing. And so that time of the year, it's like something that you don't keep, or we don't keep extra equipment on, just because there's no sense in having the cost of ownership on it. If we need something, we can rent it, in a pinch, and works out well for us. So, but yeah, we were doing that this morning. And it seems like there's always a little something that comes in during aeration overseed season, and it's not the worst thing in the world to have happen. It seems like it at the time, and sometimes it really does piss you off, quite honestly. But it is what it is. You can't do anything other than be prepared, right? I mean, have stuff serviced, utilize stuff, keep it going, and that whole thing. But things happen. But hey, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But man, we got an awesome day today, weather-wise. It's really nice. We're going to have Brett Waltz on with us with BAM Weather. He's going to hop on here in about 5-6 minutes with us, and looking forward to talking to him for a few minutes and find out what exactly is going on with all this crazy warm weather that we're having. So, been pretty nice to say the least. Pretty nice. We're looking at temperatures in the mid to upper 80s again today. So, yeah, we'll take it. Take it while we get it. Extends that aeration and overseeding season out. Keeps that soil temperature up so we can do what we need to do, and just keep saying yes. Say yes to the dress. We say yes to the yards. That yes, we can keep going. We can keep going. So hopefully you guys are into something good today. Let me know what you're into. Doug sent me a picture what they're into. They're hard at it up there in Pennsylvania, and yeah, there you go. So there's your aerator update, Doug. We hopefully we're back in action full strength again. Sunbelt was helping us out, so it's always good to know we can count on those guys to, hey, keep us rolling, keep us rocking and rolling. And that's the fun thing and bad thing about aeration and overseeding season is, you've got such a short window that you got to have pretty good plan in place. Number one, it's very weather driven, and this year we've had good weather to get it in. It's actually, I'd rather have it too dry than too wet. Just from the standpoint, it's a whole lot easier to get somebody to water than it is to try to dry things up. Looks like Mike's out and about on a mower today, rolling around, making lawns look nice. So, yeah. So, let's see. Seth, appreciate you listening. Let's see. Good morning, Wayne. And be reporting is the best month of them all. Well, there you go, man. October is nice. It should be cooling down. Daniel was talking about that actually on his show, that we got, what would you say, Daniel, 30 days or 31 days, and it'll
Christmas.
It'll be Christmas. It is true, man.
Countdown begins.
The Christmas countdown begins. It's kind of like the turkey got forgotten, but that's okay. That's all right. That's okay. We're going to beat you anyway. But yeah, played a joke on somebody today, and Daniel will tell you it was funny. It was a good one. My buddy David Bowling, who listens to us here on Turfs Up Radio quite a bit, and he's kind enough to let us use his slits seating machine, his power seating machine. And he was coming by this morning to pick it up, and he had some work he was going to use it today with. And when he called me this morning, make sure it was all good in here and ready to go for him, there's Darren Greener calling. Darren, we're good right now. I'll call you after my show. I was going to talk to Darren a second, Daniel, about that timing. So, but yeah, David called looking, and the funny thing about it was he he was coming, and he was calling just to check and make sure he was good to go. And the funny part about it was, when I answered my phone, I thought I acted like I was a answering machine, or a voicemail opportunity for him. And I said, "Hey, this is Wayne Bowes. Just want to let you know I'm in Florida till Monday, October 17th. And Katie looked it up, and she's like, "Oh, it's a Friday, for God's sakes." I'm like, he won't know. So he hung up, and I knew what he was going to do then. He was going to call Kyle or Katie or somebody else here and, make sure he was good to swing by and get his machine. So I called him right back, and I said, "Yeah, man, your machine's ready. It's I was there this morning and checked it before I went to the airport." So when he pulls in this morning to pick it up, he came in and he's like, "Oh my God, I hate you." And it was funny. It was funny. But we'll finish that up. We got Brett with Bam Weather. Let's get him on here. Brett, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, I appreciate you hopping on with us this morning here on Turfs Up Radio.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. This is the world famous Brett Waltz with Bam Weather, the most dependable weather source you guys can utilize. I'm telling you that from experience. So, but I appreciate you hopping on. What kind of news you got for us, Brett? And then I got a couple questions myself I was going to ask you about. How's the weather across the country?
The news is that right now there's not much news. It is quiet. It is sunny for most. It is very warm for October 1st. So certainly not feeling like October over the next several days.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think we were looking at, like, today's high down here is supposed to be like mid 80s or something. It's like,
yeah,
crazy, man. How long is this going to keep going? I mean, it's good for our aeration and overseeding business.
Sure. Well, I think at least where you're at, the next week, at least, we're going to have 80s at least for the next 7 days. We will have a little bit of a front that tries to move in as we work into the early to middle part of next week, but it's not looking to pack much of a punch. It should at least send us to slightly more seasonable levels, at least 70s instead of 80s. But for at least the next 7 days, it's going to feel more like summer than it will October. In fact, this weekend, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, I think you're looking at upper 80s and even into 90s for parts of the Midwest, all the way up into Minnesota.
Absolutely. And a guy just texted me, says, I've got 3 weather apps all saying something different for next week. I need to get on the BAM train. Absolutely.
Yeah,
BAMWX.com. BAMWX.com will get you on the right train with the right ticket, won't it?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, somebody will reach out and figure out what your problems are, how we can help, and help you navigate. Yeah, all the craziness. Everybody uses a different app when it's a free weather app, and they all are a little bit different. And that's why we keep the human element right at the forefront with our service.
Yeah. Hey, near miss for the East Coast on the hurricanes, huh?
Yeah, that was one of the most challenging hurricane forecasts that I've ever done because it really never happens that two hurricanes are so close together, and that just kind of throws everything into disarray. If they trend 10 to 20 miles closer to each other, that can make all the difference in the world. And luckily for the East Coast, that is what happened. They stayed closer together, so the stronger storm pulled Imelda away from the coast and kept it away from the Carolinas, which is good news down there.
Good news, yeah, because we got quite a few people listen to us down in North South Carolina and right Mid Atlantic. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was a good near miss, man. So uh,
absolutely. Yeah,
oh,
could have been.
how's their rain? Have they gotten some rain though? Because I know, in talking to quite a few of them down that way, I know Craig and Corey, who's up in Mid Atlantic, they were like, they could have actually used some rain. They didn't need to use a hurricane, but could use some rain. But
Yeah, a good portion of that area did pick up some rain. They got some of the outer bands. There was also a low in the U.S. that provided some rain. It was messy. There were parts of like northeastern North Carolina, northern Virginia, into Maryland in there that kind of got skipped out. But the coastal areas in South Carolina and North Carolina, and even parts of the Appalachians as well, were able to get some heavier rains even though the hurricane didn't make a direct impact. The combination of some of the outer bands and the low pressure system that was in the southeast U.S.
yeah. Do what do you think regionally for our area, and then you can expand on it because I know you've got it in your mind right there and looking at it. But
Sure.
what do you think next week brings for us moisture content wise?
Yeah, we should start to see some rain chances re-enter the forecast. That really picks up Monday into Tuesday, but I think it's scattered. I don't think that you're looking at a washout. I don't think you're looking at widespread heavy rain, but hit or miss rain activity possible, maybe even a couple of storms, if you will, Monday afternoon into Tuesday afternoon. And then as the front comes through late Tuesday into Wednesday, could be at least a more widespread rain chance. Although, again, I don't think it's super heavy. I don't think you're looking at a huge soaking rain, but at least a little bit of something to get the grass damp as we work into the middle part of next week.
So should we try to work ahead a little bit Monday before the rain rolls in Monday afternoon, or should we? What's your opinion on that this far out? I won't hold you to it.
Yeah,
I know we're a long ways
um,
out to get within a couple hours of what's happening.
it's almost going to act, I think, Monday, Tuesday, almost going to act kind of like the summer in terms of pop-up showers and storms. And so the afternoon will be the time frame where you'll be dealing with those. It won't be a washout, but again, hit or miss activity Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon. I think not off the table. Not everybody will see rain. I think a lot of areas will get skipped out. It'll be kind of the popcorn type of activity.
I gotcha.
But definitely the earlier in the day that you can get work done, those days the better.
What do you think about any colder weather, frost wise? I'm talking about insight. That's what we
Yeah,
look for seeding.
yeah. I don't see much in the forecast ahead. I think that if you're in the Northern Plains, the Dakotas, Minnesota, maybe, although they're already should be getting that at this time of the year. But for the Ohio Valley, the pattern looks to stay pretty warm over the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
We're keeping an eye on a cold front around the 13th to 15th. Obviously, that's 2 weeks away. That would be maybe the next opportunity, but I wouldn't say that I've got a high amount of confidence that's going to produce a widespread frost or freeze around here, just because the pattern as a whole, I think, continues to be warmer than normal.
I got you.
But it's mid-October. It's one to at least keep an eye on.
It's almost time, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
We need a frost to kill all the crabgrass.
Yeah,
Make us look good as applicators, right? Oh man, look, your crabgrass is dead. Well, Mother Nature did it. What are these brown spots in my yard? Oh, well, there are things that our chemical didn't take care of, but Mother Nature did. You know,
yeah, yeah.
but how about Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York? They similarly temperature wise the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, overall, most of those areas are going to run warmer than normal.
Okay,
The interior northeast might be a spot that, as these fronts move through, could be in a slightly better spot. In fact, as we work into tomorrow morning, it actually will be pretty cold in upstate New York. There's a front that really is only impacting the far northeast part of the country Thursday and into Friday. So it could be some frost-free spots up there in the northeast. But outside of that, pretty consistently warmer than normal, even
I
up
got you.
there over the next couple of weeks.
All
But
right.
again, yeah, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine, kind of that region, that would be where maybe a couple of these fronts could pack a little bit more of a punch through the middle part of the month.
Fair enough. Fair enough. A little pressure that I didn't warn you about. Um, Saturday, October the 11th.
Okay,
My son's getting married, so long range right
congratulations.
now. Yeah, yeah. What do you if you had to say right now? What would you think?
We do have a little storm system that we're keeping an eye on around then. I would say that it's 10 days out, so I can't really get into specifics, but I think it's warm. I don't think you're looking at a cold October 11th, but I do think there's the potential for some rain in the forecast around then. Whether it's the 10th or the 11th, check back, but there is a little storm system we're keeping an eye on that I think we should at least watch.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hit you up on that as we get a little closer for an update.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
hey, we got to put our order in because you're really good at taking orders. You and Matt are awesome on fulfilling orders for our listeners as well. I'm trying to think of
Well,
somebody that sent me thank you for you guys. Last time you were on, it was like, hey, tell them thanks for taking care of that weather order or whatever it was. And I'm like, hey, but hey, you can't get mad at them when you miss, though, right? I mean, that's the way this game's played, right, Brett? They can't be
yeah,
mad if you know.
the specifics beyond 7 days are challenging. General ideas, a lot of people think that you can't even get general ideas beyond 7 days, but I can get general ideas 2 or 3 months out. But it's the specifics, you can't get into the specifics beyond 7 days because there's so many variables at that distance.
I got you. I got you. So what's going on at BAM? Exciting.
Well, right, we are about to gear up for our winter webinar in about a month. The link for that's gonna start going out later this week for our official winter forecast. That's what I've been working on is just gearing up for the winter outlook. But aside from that, our crew's just taking a little bit of an advantage of the drier time to do some other things to get prepped
Good
for
deal.
the winter season because it'll be here before we know it.
Yes, indeedy. I hear you, man. All right. Well, hey, I won't keep you on. I know you're busy too, and I appreciate the time you guys allocate for Turfs Up Radio here on my show. And uh, we can ever help you guys with anything, you let us know. So
Well, you help us with the kind words. We appreciate it and we love helping you all. And I love to hop on.
we got a lot of listeners that like you guys. I'll tell you that. And it sounds like we got another one that might be maybe hopping on board with you guys. We'll see how it goes. But
Yeah, reach out. We're happy to help.
that's bamwx.com. You guys still got your
Yep.
free trial going on, Brett?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
We've got the free trial going on. If you inquire and reach out, we do still have that as an option. We'll have somebody that will help you out.
And that Clarity app, you'll love it, guys, listening to me. I mean, if that Clarity app is really awesome. So, all right, Brett. Well, you guys have a great day there, and I appreciate you. And when I get off my show today, I'm going to text you, and we'll see if we can't get together, okay?
All right. Sounds like a plan. I appreciate it.
All right, Brett. Thanks. Have a good one.
Yep. Thank you. You too.
All righty. That was the world famous Brett Waltz with BAM Weather. It's bamwx.com. We'll be right back with more Profit Time here on Turfs Up Radio. Your industry, your station. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to Profit Time. Welcome to Profit Time, Daniel.
Thanks for having
And
me.
yeah, man, Daniel is going to help me. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Woohoo! There's my pest control guy giving me a text this morning. Yay. It's always exciting.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is Jeff
Yep.
with
Oh,
OPC
see what
Pest
he's got
Service.
to say.
Giving you a call to let you know I'm here in your neighborhood. You have a Four Seasons exterior treatment. If you have any questions or concerns, just call me back at 552-1233.
How's that, man? That's good customer service. Daniel, that goes back to, and that wasn't planned, you all. That goes back to what we were talking about consumers just, and we just had a lady call that we're going to be a little later on getting to than what we anticipated this morning. So, it the communication aspect of things, right? I mean,
Yeah,
how
that's important.
how important it is. So, um, there's a good example of just staying in those lines of communication with your customers. So, yeah, and that was a breakdown. This situation with us this morning, that was a breakdown. On my end, uh, with Chris, our crew lead, right, that's taking care of her, not giving them the software, not having it in our software in the crew notes about, hey, between this time and this time. So even though you got the best things in play, sometimes, man, you just got to use what you got to use what you got, and there was a breakdown on my end on that. So that was my fault. Katie, thanks for taking care of that. So she wasn't throwing rocks too hard, was she? Or okay, not yet. At least Katie said true that. So, all right. Well, good deal. Good deal. I wanted to talk about a client that we had called yesterday, though, that we had aerated and overseed it, and just want to get your all's opinion on this. He called in and he was like, and he left us a message on our machine. Katie was out not feeling well yesterday, and Kyle was out, so it was Daniel and I here in the office, and it was that Monday phone session on a Tuesday, on a Tuesday, but phone was blowing up, which is a good thing, really. I mean, because most of it was, really good phone calls for us. Um, but gentleman called and said, "Hey, your guy just finished uh, seeding my yard, but he said he didn't have any topsoil for the holes in my yard and an area along my driveway that he didn't know anything about it." And so Kyle called the gentleman back, and Kyle's like, "Well, I don't see any notes, where we talked to you about that." And he said, "Well, you didn't, but I just figured I'd have you do it when you were here." Katie's shaking her head. What do you think, Daniel? I mean, that's a since you were here kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I mean, that particular truck didn't have topsoil on it,
yeah.
you know.
It's weird that someone would like. I get some things where it's just like labor only, but when it's material, why would you assume they would have that if it's not part of the work?
Yeah, if it's not part of the work you're getting, why would you assume they would have extra topsoil or extra anything? I mean, we normally do end up with some extra stuff, but that was early on in the day, and then that particular truck yesterday did not have topsoil because depending on how much it was, we'd have been happy to, take care of it while we were there to save us a trip back, for him. That was one of those that we would have, but let's see. Mike says that's like being pissed off at the server that didn't bring you fried pickles, you know, and you didn't say you wanted fried pickles. And no, that's exactly right. And hang on to that thought process, Mike, because I got something I want to talk about here just real quickly on that. And we're going to lead right. Matter of fact, that's a perfect lead into it. here in a second. We're going to talk about that, but or something very similar, to that situation. But you know, let's see what Doug's got here. Let's see. We have that. Hey, the guys are here now. Can they trim these 3 shrubs? Yeah. First of all, I got a really good idea. Why don't you go ask them? I mean, especially if you got a landscape crew on, and we think the same thing, Doug. They spend the time to call us. Go out and address it. And maybe it's because I'm a contractor and I understand the process a little bit, but go out and maybe at least put the bug in the ear of the person that's there that, hey, I'm going to call in and see if I can get this done while you're here. That way, if they're wrapping up the job and finishing up the job, they're not packing up 100% and leaving. I mean, because that's the last thing I know that I want to do or you guys want to do. If we can do it while we're there. Just run out and give them a heads up. But I don't know that guy, based on his phone message, you would have thought we forgot to do something, but it was something he didn't even ask us to do, but thought he'd get us to do while we were there. And like I said, we're not complaining about it. I'm just sharing that story with you guys because that's the reality of it. And for you new guys listening to us here on Turfs Up Radio, I mean, that's just the way it goes sometimes. I mean, it just is what it is. And I will say this, if you can do it while you're there. If you can't, you can't. But don't be independent and say, well, I got to move on to the next one. And because some things you can get done while you're there, some things you can't. That's the reality of it. But on the other hand, sometimes it just makes better sense to do it while you're right there. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what I'm going to call truth in advertising this morning. Kyle was looking into how a lot of the car washes now are going to this wash as much as you want for a subscription, basically for a monthly fee. And he was reading this one that's right here by us, their paperwork on it, and it said something to the point, unlimited washes, because that's what they talk about, most of them on these subscriptions, unlimited washes. And he said, and after that it said, really, with an exclamation mark. And so he went to look at it and he started reading the terms and conditions after he clicked on it. And in the terms and conditions, you actually got 15 washes a month, which, now thinking about it, I mean, that's probably more than the average bear is going to use. That's going in every other day.
It's definitely more than the average person uses. Yeah.
But truly it's not unlimited if you want it to go in there more than 15 times.
Yeah.
So what do you think about and I'm curious for you guys too, listening.
I think it's really weird that they would not necessarily call it unlimited when it's not, but to then double down on saying really it's unlimited.
Yeah.
Why put really if it's really not?
If it's really not. And I bring that up to have you think about yourself, Doug said, you don't know my wife and her red pickup. She must roll through pretty frequently. There you go. And I like to keep my car clean. I'd love to keep my car clean, actually. Very seldom do you get in my car and it's dirty, but occasionally it does get that way. And I don't know that I would go more than 15 times a week. I mean,
you wouldn't.
A month.
Times a month. You wouldn't. I know you wouldn't. No one would.
No
one would take that unless it's in your garage. The level of convenience, even if it's on your way home on the same side of the road you're on, no one's stopping that many times or more.
I don't think so either. Doug says typically twice a week for her,
So there you go.
Monday, Friday. So it's 8 to 9. 15, like we all said, we agreed yesterday talking about it that 15 is probably more than anybody would use, but they did emphasize unlimited, really.
Yeah, that's what's
very
weird.
about it. But I mean, I'm not going to question this guy because this guy owns a lot of car washes and has for
I think you could still question anyone.
5 decades.
I mean,
You
you can
know,
still question.
but
That's what keeps us.
I wonder what happens if you go in more than 15. I wonder if it actually tracks them.
Kyle said you put like a ticket in or a card or a something, a code. It gives you a code when you
Yeah,
go through.
if it tracks those codes.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably would, but I think it'd be interesting one month at the end of the month to just go through and like see how many codes you can get, you know,
Yeah,
just to see if you can, it truly would knock you off at the 15th.
to see what does happen. Yeah, if it
Because
or
maybe
charged.
it's only there because they're not going to, but they can enforce it. You know, if you constantly have 75 washes per month on your card on your account,
Right.
maybe they'd be like, "Hey, there's a 15 max and here's where it says it." But
Yeah,
they're not actually going to cut someone off if they do go 15, 16, 20, whatever
yeah.
times or every day even maybe.
And I realize we're not here to talk about car wash business, but it is small business, and how it could relate to your business, and what, because everybody says, hey, you need a call to action, right? And you do need a call to action in your advertising, but you got to be careful about that call to action.
I think the truthfulness or the I don't know what you would call that, the deception maybe in your advertising. Be careful what that is. Because
Yeah.
advertising, a big part of hiring a company is trust.
Right.
And if you can't trust them from even before you hire them, then you might lose a little bit of that.
And well, and that's something Darren's going to talk about on his show after us, is that building that trust and loyalty on his show, was something that, potentially could be a negative, turn it into a positive to help build that trust. And that's almost like you could be, first of all, who reads terms and conditions other than Kyle? Probably
Not many people know.
not many, so
What would be even more frustrating is if, hey, I love washing my car every day. I bought this thing, and then on day 16 you go in and it doesn't work. That would be more frustrating than reading it in the terms and conditions.
yeah, because yeah. Aaron says you got to have one hell of a clear coat to take all that. True that, man. True that. Another thing, this is a little bit different, but kind of truth in advertising, right? And I want to get your all's opinion on this too. And this has to do with tipping in business. And I don't know how many of you guys are asking for tips. I know some of the lawn and landscape contractors in our area and within the industry now, there is an area when you pay online to give a tip. Okay, a lot of the software is making that ability. But here's where I want to go to with this, and something specifically that happened to me. And I just want to get your all's opinion on how y'all feel about it. A lot of times you walk into a restaurant and it'll say, hey, groups of 8 or more automatically get a whatever percentage tip, 18%, 20%, whatever it is. And I get it. They don't want the server to get, jacked up, and any compensation. But here's a little bit of a situation I had, and it's not even a real situation. Well, it is a real situation, but it's not a problem, When somebody says, and it's written in their contract, and this happens to be where Daniel's having his rehearsal dinner, okay? And it's a nice place. Been there a couple other times. Heck, the Turfs Up Radio crew ate there one year, and I've been there, since then. So it's a decent place, nice place. And when I got my final contract billing for it, they automatically added, which I knew they were going to, 20% gratuity to the total. And I emailed back and said, okay, fine. Everything looks fine. We're good to go. But I think your software is calculating my gratuity on the post tax amount. but I did make a big deal out of it.
Hmm.
So the lady responded back to me last night about 7, which I was surprised. I got an email that late from them. And she said, yes, we do on the total plus tax, and then we calculate our 20%. And I said, it's no big deal. I just thought I'd point it out in case y'all didn't know, within your software. So, and Tab and I got to talking a little bit about it last night. And I said, it didn't bother me. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money above and beyond, but it's the principle, I think, of a tip is supposed to be, for services that that were rendered, and the food or whatever that you got. You can give a tip on something other than food, just good service. What's your opinion on that, Daniel? Because I did Google it.
I've never thought about it. I've guess I've always just tipped on the total amount, but as you continue to spend, more and more money, that would become a greater difference. So yeah, I can see where it would be different if it's a 2-person meal versus a rehearsal dinner style thing. There's a big difference there in regards to what the 6% is going to be.
Say it's like the expo, right? Out here at the expo where they're doing that prayer breakfast, and you got 300 meals you've bought. And they're adding a 20% gratuity to 300 meals.
Yeah.
Now, the difference may only be 2 or 3%. I haven't done the math on it, but doing that on each group that comes through there, that's a significant amount. And I think that goes back into truth in your advertising or truth in your contract or, and again, I'm not crying about it to you all. It's just, I want you guys to look at your business procedures and see what you're doing. Because Daniel, you straighten some of my thoughts up here sometimes when I do something differently, and you're like, well, that's probably not the right way to do it or the best way to do it. I think you got to look past the small amount of additional income it's going to generate. And like I said, I did Google it, and I wasted a piece of paper, Daniel. But anyways. And it did say traditionally tips for a server should be calculated on a pre-tax total of your bill. But it did also have an article that went on below it that talked about, tipping on the post-tax total. That a lot of softwares, it mentioned softwares, and I saw that before I mentioned that to her before I even read this article, that a lot of softwares just will take the total and add 20%. I would rather not be as deceptive personally as a business.
I don't know if it's deceptive though.
No, she owned it. She said that's just the way we do it.
Yeah. I don't think it's deceptive though to do it that way. I just think it's a different way of doing it.
Well, sure, it's to their advantage.
But that doesn't make it deceptive.
Well, when it says, hey, you've got a minimum, their contract says, and I'm not even going to debate it with her. I don't care. It ain't a big deal. It's a one-time shot. But when your contract says there'll be a 20% gratuity added to food and beverage purchases, it doesn't say food, beverages, and sales tax. I think it goes back to what we talked about the other night in the profit circle about verbiage and contracts, hey, say what you want to say, but say it.
Yeah. And maybe it's not, it could be, but maybe it's not either. Maybe it's just that's the way they wrote it because that's their mind didn't go to, their mind didn't think about not including it or including it. It was just, hey, this is what it is kind of thing. I don't know. I guess it's.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, in
No
any
big
given
deal.
situation, it could be deceptive or it couldn't be, but I don't know in this particular.
You're really good at analyzing stuff, though, man. That's why I thought I'd talk about it with you on it. And again, it's over the course of a year. Let's say a company's doing $1 million a year, and you take an additional 2 or 3%, or maybe say 2%. It's not a bad gig, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And
But if that's part of, yeah, I think it really, I don't know.
Mike said he's 50-50 on it. And I'll be honest, I've never ever thought about it until this, because I always just look at my bill and say, okay, whatever I'm doing, 15%, 20%, whatever, and just do it on the total myself, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it till I saw it in writing to me in an email, and it's broke down. But I only brought those two things up about, the car wash and the tips, to get you thinking a little bit about the final thing that I want to talk about.
I will say before we move on to that, I'm more inclined to think that the first thing is more deceptive than the second one.
Yeah, the car wash thing, unlimited, really, and you got a 15.
Yeah. The other one might just be differences in the customs or what one person sees as a norm versus the other.
Now here we go. Corey's got a good question. He says, I've just got a question. He says, does the wait staff get the whole tip, or is the tip taken out? That could come to play too. In other words, is the wait staff getting the tip, or are they getting a flat fee on it? Mike said his contracts do state we charge sales tax, but if someone asks a price and I verbally said something, I'd say a $65 minimum without mentioning tax. But yeah, it becomes, depending on the total, it's more like a 22% charge. So
I think that's a pretty common thing though.
yeah,
Across many industries is pre-tax total.
pre-tax total.
At-
Yeah.
at,
And that's the way our contracts are written too, Mike.
Some people are upset about it, but not many.
Yeah. We have very few people that say, well, I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, you said it's going to be.
Now, what I don't like when I interact in some way with other companies is if I'm like trying to get a total and they say the total, but they don't include the tax.
Yes.
That's frustrating.
Yeah. When you ask for, hey, what's the total? What's the bottom line number? Give me the bottom line number.
Yeah.
And all of these two examples that we've talked about a little bit lead me to this, and I want to, was the groundwork for what this is. And this is something that I again, Daniel, I printed it offline. Me and my printing stuff, but let's see. Ben said, I couldn't agree with you more with your thoughts on pre-tax gratuity. Sound like a former Kentucky governor move, Matt Bethany. You can thank him for a lot of this type of stuff. But that's the reality of it. I've got this thing offline that I wanted to share with you all. Let's see. He said, that's a really good question, Tim. Tim up in Schenectady, New York, there around Albany, said, what's your thoughts on setting up my employees having a Venmo account and then telling my customers that if they'd like to tip them at the end of the season, here's their Venmo accounts?
I wouldn't want to do that as a customer, but other people might be different.
Yeah.
I would rather just give it somehow to either cash or business. Just
give it to them on a visit or
and
something.
Say, can you disperse this to your people that worked for me or whatever?
Yeah. Remember Mr. Woe used to do that, and Mr. Mortberg used to always send a check in here and say, hey, man, divide this amongst the crew. So that's pretty interesting. So, yeah, Tim, I think you bring along a pretty good idea there, my friend. uh, on the Venmo accounts. I'm like Daniel. I'd have to think about it a minute if I'd want to.
I think it can be okay, but it can also feel a little clunky. It's like I got my phone out, got to find your Venmo. Oh, this is you. Is this not you? What's the last four of your phone number? So it can kind of feel a little bit clunky, maybe,
Yeah,
especially if you're doing it for multiple people.
right. No, that's true too. If you get into doing multiples, something like that could be a little problematic. So let's see. Tim said some dude tipped my guys on site, but sometimes the guys haven't been there since July, August, or September. So yeah.
I think it definitely shows transparency, though, which is
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that you're 100% open. Um, let's see. Let's see. Is the owner included as the crew? That's that's what Aaron said. Does it include the owner on the crew? So I mean, yeah, that there's again, it goes back to the transparency of the whole thing. Um, Mike said, "No, send me the check. I'll get it where it needs to go."
Yeah,
So
I think both ways are
yeah,
okay.
I think it's yeah. I don't think it's wrong or right. It's uh, hell, try it and find out, Tim.
Yeah.
I mean that's the reality of it. It's no different than the software that uh, some of these guys that I'm seeing on things that I go online to pay with contractors that ask about, do you want to leave a tip? You know, um, I don't know. That would certainly. I don't know, Tim. That's a good one. That's a good one. So give it a whirl. I think the less number of employees you have, the easier that would be to use. Maybe
Yeah.
one or two or three maybe might be an easy thing to implement. But Mike brings up a point too. He said, "I'm not sure I want my employees thinking it's okay for customers to Venmo them."
That's true.
Because
What if you had a company Venmo and you called it your tip jar, and it was a little QR code that was whatever, and when they scanned it, it took them to your Venmo, and you could just do it right quick in a few steps.
yeah. Well, I think Tim. I don't want to say what Tim was thinking because Judge Judy wouldn't like that, but was the transparency of Daniel
It goes
getting it.
to me as the
Yeah,
person and not to the
yeah.
company, and then the company chooses whether or not to.
What to do?
Yes.
But yeah, that ain't bad. That would keep it simple for a bigger company.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Mike that works here. He works for a casino, and they do cumulative tips and divide it evenly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that may be it. There, Mike said, "No, that's a great idea, Daniel." So there we go. And then you got a guy saying, "Well, I'll do more than he does. Why did he get 20 and I got 20 and I do $30 worth of work?" Oh my God. Oh, Seth said, "Yeah, let's see." I will, Seth, I will let Bam know about your weather for your birthday. And he said, the joke's on them. I'm the crew.
Nice.
Yeah. So there you go. It could all be. uh, Aaron said, yeah, me and that Mike are now best friends. So there you go. Corey said they would get paid on this side via Venmo. So, Tim, a lot of interaction on that right away.
Yeah, that could happen.
So
if you're like, oh, pay me for this week's monthly or
Yeah.
this week's mowing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I paid
Well,
XYZ. But
yeah, I forgot. I didn't have your address, so I just put it on Daniel's Venmo. He can give it to you. Woohoo!
slippery slope.
The slippery slope. Oh my God. We got 6 minutes, and I want to get to my point about what I was going to bring in the. Aaron said you had me a casino. Oh my God. But talking about the truth in advertising, I pulled something offline, and it's a man hour calculator app. Oh, thank you. Appreciate you, Juan. Yes, sir. So, and I've only got 4 minutes, so we're gonna make it quick. But you guys, I don't criticize competition. That's my deal. Okay. But I saw this out there, and I don't think it's good. And it says, "How does this man-hour calculator work for you?" And then it goes on to say 600 plus owner operators are using this. Well, I feel sorry for the 600. Let me say that. But it says, and what's wrong with this is the same thing that's wrong with a lot of them out there. The first thing that this says, and I've got it sitting right here in front of me. There it is. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus for you guys watching this on the video side. Enter your current man-hour rate. Enter what you pay for labor. Enter your overhead cost. Enter what profit margin you want to make. And bingo, I'll show you exactly to the penny what you need to charge. How do you know that these inputs are right? When it says enter your current man-hour rate, how have you calculated your man-hour? The software's not doing it.
Right.
It's just saying, hey, enter your rate. Is it 150? Is it 120? Well, you just enter what you're charging. Well, that don't mean it's right. Enter what you pay labor. I pay a guy $20 an hour, but he costs me $43.80. Or something other than the labor rate. Be careful on what you buy into. I'm not saying don't buy this. I'm just saying,
Well,
are they?
I think you are kind of.
Well,
it's okay to say that.
Okay. Yeah, don't buy this. Unless they can give me more information on why this is accurate.
Yeah.
Enter your current man-hour rate. Well, secondly, it should say labor hour rate because we got men and women working in the industry. I'm just saying.
There you go.
Enter what you pay for labor. Enter your overhead cost. Well, I'm not sure what my overhead costs are. So if you want to really understand how to calculate cost per hour, go to Profits Unlimited's website and check out our Know Why You Charge What You Charge. We will show you how to calculate your labor cost, your overhead cost, and come up with a labor hour rate to charge per hour based on your overhead, your use rates, and your desired margin. We don't have you just plug in arbitrary numbers. And that's wrong, Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's free, but that's probably why it's free.
Yeah.
And number two is there's got to be something on the backside to generate income on that.
I'm sure there are.
There's
some ways.
Just be careful on what you see. It's kind of like what I say about social media all the time. It's a great source of information. It's a river of information, but you never know who's peeing in the water upstream. You don't know what the water's like when it gets to you. Take the time to do it right. With that being said, we're going to hop off here. We've got a hard off at 11 o'clock. And King Darren is coming on here in less than 1 minute. You guys stay tuned right here for King Darren as he's going to help you understand how we could turn some negatives into a positive that would normally help you create more loyalty from your customers and a better customer relationship. And I slaughtered the explanation of that, but hey, stay tuned. Darren will do a great job on it for you. And understand that profit is not a dirty word. We'll see you on Friday.